Welcome everyone, and thanks for playing the Grand National Novice Pairs. I hope you had a fabulous time. I'm Pete Holland, and I'm luckily joined today by Jodi Tutty. She's been a multiple representative of the Australian women's and mixed team. Welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. It's great to be here today.
So today what we're going to be doing is be going over the boards and just sort of explaining our general thoughts on how we'd be approaching them. So if we take a look at board number 1. So here, North's got an interesting choice here. They probably want to pass this, but it's getting close to a 3-club opening, not vulnerable. I'm a very aggressive preemptor, not vulnerable, but I don't think I like preempting this one. What about you?
I'm a much more conservative bidder than you, Pete. This I know. So no, I would pass this. I might consider it if they were vulnerable and I was not vul. I'd be more interested. But first seat, not vul, against not vul, I'd pass.
Yeah, I think that's pretty sensible. And East gets to open the bidding 1 heart, and South would pass. And West only has 5 high card points, but a Doubleton club as well. I think they should be raising to 2 hearts here. North could be considering doing things as a passed hand. I don't mind them passing. I also don't mind maybe just bidding 3 clubs now, just in case the opponents stop there. With a singleton heart, I kind of like to stretch to bid, and being as a passed hand, I don't think you can have a much better hand. I would be open to North bidding something. What do you reckon you'd bid the second time around?
I probably wouldn't, but I actually agree with you. I think it's a much more appealing bid the second time round than the first time round. You're unlikely to get into any trouble.
Yeah.
You could find your partner with 4 hearts and a singleton club, and it's all very ugly, but sometimes you've got to take a few risks, I think, when bidding.
Yeah. So I'll assume most people pass, but I think this one's pretty close. And East has a pretty decent hand. I got 16 high card points. I would probably just be making an invitational bid playing match points, pairs game. So I might bid something like 2 spades or 3 hearts or something just to try and invite partner. It's definitely worth more than just passing 2 hearts. For me, it's sort of invite to even just potentially bidding game. I would probably bid game if we were playing the team scoring of imps, but at match points, I think I'd just invite. Where are you at?
Yeah, I'd agree. Definitely at imps. If it was a team's match, I'd bid it, but at match points, I think you'd just do an invite.
Yep. And West would just pass, and I think I'd leave it there. So this is a very challenging first board. It's very close decisions for quite a few players, but moving on to board number 2. This one looks like it's got a bit of excitement. How would you bid this one?
Whoa, there's a lot of shake going on. And this time the vulnerability is much more in favour of east-west than north-south. So I wouldn't open east, just simply because I've got the majors and I'm fairly conservative. I'm nowhere near as young as Pete, so I take it much more. So I would have passed, I think, with East, which would make life much easier for South, who will get to open a heart. You're too strong to open a no trump because you've got the 18 count. And now you get to West. And now West has a really nice hand. I'd just be bidding 1 spade at this point. I don't think I'd be doubling. You're not strong enough to double and bid, and you're too strong for a 2-spade bid. I mean, you're sort of on par with me so far.
Yeah, I think that's all sensible.
So with North's hand, you've got an interesting one actually, haven't you? Because you've only got 3 hearts. You've only got 6 points, or 5 points because the Jack of Diamonds, but you've got 2 singletons. But I think even so, I'd still only go 2 hearts. How about you, Pete?
Yeah, I reckon I'd just bid 2 hearts. This is like a really awkward one for what to do. Like, you might evaluate this hand up around sort of 10, 11 points. But I feel like it's going to be hard to do lots of trumping if the opponents draw trumps on you. And I don't see a great alternative bid is the main thing.
It is. You kind of want. I've got a 2 with a lot of shape, but you don't actually have that bid, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then actually, Easter's got an interesting choice. I think even though I'm 3 points, you've got the void in clubs. You're not Vul. I'm definitely bidding here. I think probably only 2 spades because I've only got 3 spades and partner may only have 5. Would you go more?
I think I would just bid 2 spades. Like your 4 hearts to the Jack 10 seem like defensive-ish cards, so I don't want to be jumping too much to try and push partner because of that. I reckon if my hearts were a bit weaker, maybe you would tempt me at this vulnerability, but I think 2 spades is about good.
Partner's short now, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and now South, I think, probably just goes 4. Partner's gone 2, don't you think?
Yep.
Looks like a nice hand. And that probably ends the bidding. West may be tempted, actually. Maybe you would bid 4 spades on this one. You're not Vul. But no, I don't think so. I think I've got some defensive tricks. Partner might have hearts. I think I'd probably pass and hope.
Yeah. The vulnerability is definitely like you want to work out how good defensively your hand is. Like, are we beating them in 4 hearts or not? And I mean, it's very possible that we are. But you might just take some insurance that maybe the opponents are making 4 hearts and just bid 4 spades. Because if the opponents are making 4 hearts and you get doubled in 4 spades, you only need to make 7 tricks. So it's a tough one. I'd probably err on the side of bidding 4 spades, which doesn't work out at all well today. But
it's interesting. If it was match imps or you're playing teams, I think I'd probably be more just with the insurance. But in match points, I think you're over the strong hand. I think I'm more likely to pass.
Yeah.
But next time I do it, you'll find partner only has 3 hearts and you'll be right and I'll be wrong.
It is one where I might look at how confident my South player was if they erred on do I bid 4 hearts or not. But moving on to board number 3, the excitement continues. North has a pretty fabulous 17 count, but South has an interesting choice here. So they've got a 6-4 in the majors with ace, ace, king. Some people just look at this and think, I've only got 3 big cards and everything else is lower than an 8. But I just love aces and kings. I also love 6-4 shapes. I would definitely be opening the South hand. I'd just be starting with 1 heart here. The West player would pass, and North, with their 17 count, is super excited here. They've got a fit in hearts, and they've got enough points for game. Some people might just bid 4 no trumps straight away, but I really like taking it a little bit slower. So what I ideally want to do is, however you can show 3-card game forcing support. Now, the most common way that people do this is just by bidding a new suit and then maybe jumping in hearts later. So here I would have it go 1 heart past 2 diamonds. And now East has a pretty interesting choice as well. They've got 7 decent spades. The opponents are showing some good strength, but I feel like the vulnerability is probably wrong to come in on this auction. I don't get in the way too much when the opponents are showing pretty strong hands. I think 2 spades would be okay, but I probably wouldn't be bidding any more than that. And I think pass is completely fine. Where would you fall on that?
I certainly wouldn't be bidding 3 spades. I think you're right there. I might do 2 spades just in case partner's got length in spades. You could, even at this vulnerability, want to be in this auction.
Yeah. But I feel like 3 spades is far too dangerous. 2 spades is okay. Pass is okay.
Okay, yeah.
If East passes, lots of people play 2 spades by South as a reverse. So showing 16 or more, or a strong extra values at least. So with South, I would probably just be repeating hearts. So I'd have it go a heart, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts. If East did bid 2 spades, I'd probably just pass with the South cards instead. And that would complicate North-South's auction quite a bit as to how they untangle it. I'll talk a bit more about that at the end. But over a heart, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts, North's got a pretty good hand. I would probably just move into asking for aces at this stage. You got maybe a couple other bids, but if you could show a forcing heart raise at that stage, you could. But you want to be pretty clear on what partners, what is actually forcing or not. But here, the way I see the North hand, you've only got 17 high card points, but you've got this great potential source of tricks and diamonds. So I really think the North hand should be investigating slam. And if partner bids 1 heart, 2 hearts, they've usually got 6, although they're not guaranteeing 6 hearts there. So I think I would be bidding for no trumps, and when partner shows 2 aces, I would potentially check to see if we can make Grand Slam. This would depend on what methods you actually play. So if partner's got 2 aces, I would want to be able to see, do you have the Queen of Hearts and do you have the King of Diamonds? And it requires some sort of fancy system agreements about what you can actually do there. But there are some extensions to Blackwood that could help you find that out. If you've got those in your agreements, I reckon this would be a great hand to do it. You wouldn't find out, if you have those agreements, you still would find out partner doesn't have the King of Diamonds. So I think you just would stop in 6 hearts on this hand. And 6 hearts, you probably will lose to the Queen of Hearts anyway. But can probably navigate your way there. If the auction goes heart past 2 diamonds and there is the 2 spade overcall, and that goes pass to North, North's awkwardly placed, but your hand's still really good. And with the opponents bidding 2 spades in your really strong auction, they've probably got good values there, which usually would make you think that partner's got some values outside of spades. So I'd still be interested in looking for slam and trying to play 6 hearts on this hand. But your options are pretty awkward. You could maybe still bid 4 no trumps. It's not clear what you'd be asking aces on there. You could potentially bid the opponent's suit, bid 3 spades, and that should just be, I want to start a conversation with you. But it's a bit of a nightmare in that spot about how to untangle it. What do you reckon?
It is. If you could, that could be good, but you'd be worried that you'd get passed out and you're not going to make enough. But they are vulnerable and you're not. Don't think I'd be doubling. I think you're right. It's just an awkward hand if they do it, isn't it?
Yeah. So if they did it, it wouldn't surprise me if you ended up in 4 hearts. But I still feel like the North should find a stronger bid, but they are a bit awkward.
Yeah.
Moving on to board number 4. What are your thoughts on this one?
All right. So we've got West opening. There's been some nice hands here. Into hearts. So I think West has a fairly clear 1 heart bid with their 12 count. North has an interesting hand, but not enough points, and you're vulnerable. So I really think here you should just be going quietly and passing. It's too risky to try bidding any number of clubs. And that gives East free range to think what to do. East has a really nice hand in the sense that while they've only got 10 points, they do have a singleton, and they have 2 aces, and they have the Queen of Hearts. So they've got lots of good points. An invite looks a bit light. I'd be worried. I think I probably would go for an invite. So however you would invite, like if it's 1-3 or whatever you do for an invite, you could try, you don't want to splinter if you do splinters because you haven't got 4 hearts. You could try 1 spade and then raise hearts. That's the other thing you could do. But I think whatever you're doing, you're at least, you should be thinking very strongly about game. You may not insist on it if partner shows a very bad hand, but Probably start with a spade. What would you do, Pete?
Yeah, like I think it would be okay to show this as invitational, but I really like how well, like, I like having aces. I like the singleton. My queen of hearts will be useful. Spades could be a source of tricks. I would probably show this as a game forcing hand, but I don't mind an invitational response with that ace cards.
No, I think in playing teams, you'd definitely be going to game.
Yep.
It's also, I think, a bit of your partnership style here. If you open 12 counts and 13 counts and not 11 counts, I think you definitely want to be going. If you've got a partner that opens 10s and 11s, you might want to be a bit more careful.
Yep. If it was just an invite, I suspect West would just pass that out. But if it does go like a spade, it might go a heart, a spade, South would pass, West would bid a no trump, and then maybe just bid 4 hearts.
I think so.
It's pretty fringe. Both options are pretty reasonable.
They are.
Moving on to board number 5. Here, North has a 13 count and can open a diamond, and East has an interesting option here. So there's sort of three options I want to discuss. One I'm not a big fan of, but you could consider bidding a no trump. You could consider bidding 2 clubs. You could consider doubling, and a fourth option is you could consider passing, trying to bid later. I wouldn't be passing here. That's not my style, but if you did pass, you might be able to show this hand really well later if the auction goes the right way for you, but I tend not to do that. I also wouldn't be doubling here. You could double with the intention to double and then maybe bid clubs later. People often say sort of 16 points is the bare minimum for a power double, where you double and bid again to show a strong hand. I feel that's sort of too aggressive unless you've got extra shape. So I tend to sort of draw the line at about 18 points. So I would be really choosing between, do I want to bid 2 clubs or do I want to bid a no trump? And I would just bid a no trump here. It describes the hand relatively well. You're not one of the traditional balance shapes, but with a 5-4-2-2 shape with a 5-card minor, I'm pretty happy to treat this as balanced. So I would go and bid a no trump. King Queen Doubleton's also not fabulous for it, but basically I don't see any of the options being better or easier to actually try and do. What would you do with the East hand?
I think you're right. It has to be a no trump because the others are worse. If you double and your partner bids spades, it's awful. And you're too strong, really, for 2 clubs. You're spending the whole time trying to catch up. And I wouldn't pass. 17 counts are meant to be bid, I think.
Yep. And after a 1 no trump overcall, I actually like double with the South hand. So if responder doubles a 1 no trump overcall, it should be showing values and sort of 9+ points, such that we know we've got at least half, bit over half, once partner's opened, and that the opponents probably won't be able to make. And if you do that, that would go pass and North would pass. And as East, I'd probably just try running to my 5-card club suit now and bid 2 clubs. If that happens, it depends on what your agreements are after that. Some people might play double as penalties. Some people might play double as takeout. If you play double as takeout, I would make one with the South hand. If you play it as penalties, I would pass, and you might be defending 2 clubs on this hand. If you got the takeout double available, North-South can work their way to 2 spades. What do you reckon?
I think you're right. It's spot on.
What about board number 6?
Yeah. So East is the opener this time. This is an interesting one. I must admit, I would open it with most of my partners, but because again, it's got your favourite cards, 2 aces and a king. But it may be a matter of style and what you do. If you do open kind of lightish. You've got to be kind to your partner as responder and not get too overboard. I don't know. So I'd open a club. Would you, Pete? I imagine you would. Yeah. So I'd go a club. I think South passes. West probably bids a spade to start off with. They've got a nice hand, and that kind of stops any inclination of North to do anything. And now I'm not so keen about my opening any longer on East because spade doesn't really help me much. But you've got no option really but to bid a no trump. And now I think you're probably too high because I can't see West passing that with their 12 count. So you probably end up in 3 no trumps going 2 off.
Yeah. West with a 4-3-3 shape could consider just inviting.
Could invite, and I think you should if you play light openings, but yes, I think you're going to definitely end up in 2 no trumps, if not 3 no trumps.
And it's not clear that you're going down as such. Like the opponents can beat you, but North has a very awkward. South. Like none of the opponents have a clear lead. If South starts with a diamond, you'll probably be in trouble. But if they choose an unbid major of a heart, I think you'd be pretty well placed in making. You might even make 9 tricks if they find the wrong lead. So
this is true.
Awkward one for defending.
West is 4-3-3. You do have 10s, and your jacks have 10s and 9s. So I wouldn't mind 3 no trumps on that.
Yeah, I probably would bid 3 no trumps, but I don't mind an invite because, as you said, fabulous intermediates there. Usually they would get you some decent tricks. The East hand, with the singleton ace of spades, I like 1 no trump, but if you had a small singleton spade, I'd probably just try rebidding 2 clubs rather than 1 no trump, but that's a style sort of thing.
No, I'm with you. I tend not to bid no trumps on a singleton, except if it's a singleton ace or king.
Moving on to board number 7. So here South can pass, and West has a 7-card spade suit, but you are vulnerable. What are your thoughts on preempting with these sorts of hands?
Well, this time at least everybody's vulnerable, so that makes you a bit happier. I quite like the rule of 2 and 3. So, I mean, it's certainly a point to start. I don't stick to it, but so on this one, you'd have 5 spade. You're quite a long one. You've got a lot of losers, really. Sorry, am I going to explain the rule of 2 and 3? No, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's beyond me.
Yeah. So
I don't think it's that great anyhow. I don't know why I mentioned it. So let's just forget about that.
Yeah, so there's like a close one for preempting. I definitely would be preempting this not vulnerable. Vulnerable, I feel like suit quality is really relevant. Like if you gave me like ace jack 10 of spades, I would be a lot more interested. But after the ace jack of spades, your spades are just so terrible. I probably wouldn't be preempting 3 spades on this one. For me, I would be choosing between 2 spades and pass, and this is sort of like a partnership style thing. Some partnerships don't like reducing the number of spades that they've got just because their suit quality is not good at it. And other people are happy about it. What do you reckon?
It's interesting. I've never had a problem with opening 2 spades, especially in match points with 7. But, I played once with Margaret Burke and I thought I was going to be murdered for daring to do this. And I mean, she's a fantastic player who played for Australia more times than most of us have had cooked dinners. So it really is, I think, as you said, a partnership thing. Do you open them with 7-card suits, 2 spades?
For me, I don't mind it, but it's if my partnership doesn't like doing it, I don't have a strong conviction about it. So I'd prefer to do whatever my partnership or partner expects rather than feeling like you must be doing it this way or not.
I think that's right. Partnership understanding is everything, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So let's say it goes 2 spades. North, I think, should make a bid, and they have a choice between 3 hearts and double. I could go either way on this one. There's so many marginal hands here. Your heart quality is not great, but if you start with a double, you never really get to show your 5th heart. So if you're trying to get to a game contract on this one, I think that 3 hearts is probably the most promising start. That being said, partner's a passed hand, and we've got a singleton queen of spades, so I don't think that we're necessarily really striving to get to a game contract. I think here I would be making a takeout double when partner's a passed hand and bidding 3 hearts if they weren't. What about you?
I think at match points I might double in both.
Yep.
I think I'd be more, if playing teams, I'd be more worried about the 5-3 heart fit. In match points, I might just give up on it and hope. But of course, you're right. You could get to the wrong part score anyhow if partner has good enough to have 3 hearts and nothing else to bid.
Yeah. If it went 2 spades, 3 hearts, I would double with the East cards. That should just be, I'm interested in penalising the opponents. Because after preempts, you don't need takeout doubles anymore. If it went 2 spades, double, with the East cards, I'm pretty keen to try and compete to 3 spades with a known at least 9 card spade fit. My preference is just to do it straight away. With those good hearts, you could wait to see if the opponents bid hearts and then choose not to. And if they did something else, bid 3 spades. What do you reckon?
I'm with you. I think bid it immediately and just, I mean, on this hand, you don't give North-South a problem because South's quite happy to pass. But if South had a bit more, South could be really struggling to know whether to bid in this auction, and they've got to do it at the 4 level or not. So I think if you're going to bid immediately.
Yep. What about board number 8?
Board number 8. So we're starting with West, who for once has a very easy bid, I think. And North would probably pass as well. So East is going to have the opening, and they've got a nice hand. Now this is an interesting one. Do you ever open these 1 no trumps? Because you're sort of in the range. You've got the 14 count, but you've got a 6 card suit, so that would certainly upgrade it into the no trump. How do you feel? Would you open this? Are you a spade opener or a no trump opener?
Yeah, so I do put some 6 card suits into a no trump, but I don't do it with a major, so I would just be opening a spade here. But if you swapped my clubs and spades, I would be opening a no trump with this rather than 1 club, for instance.
And that's kind of interesting because, you know, I play a lot with David Beecham, who's also played for Australian Open team, and he's quite keen on 6-3 2-2s, even with a major opening at 1 no trump, just as they look balanced and put them in and do it. Which shows really the bridge is a matter of, a lot of these things aren't clear cut, are they?
No.
So let's open a spade because I'm with you. I'm a spade opener. And then it thinks South's going to pass. Now West has 4 spades and an ace. So they've got quite a nice hand there, but I still think they've only got a 2 spade bid. So they'd go 2 spades and then it comes back to East. And East has a very nice 14 count. But opposite 2 spades, is it possible? They could have a 9 count. What could they have? When I'm not sure whether I want to go on or not, I start imagining cards in partner's hand. So if they had the king of spades and maybe the ace of hearts and the queen of diamonds, which would be a nice maximum, how good would game be? Well, that game would actually be very good, wouldn't it? Because you'd have a club and 2 diamonds.
Yeah.
So it is possible. I mean, on this hand, with the right sort of 9 count, game could be there. So certainly in teams and even I'd be moving and I'd make some sort of invite, and that would really depend on your systems. I mean, and I think in any case, West with their four spades, even though they've got four spades, they're a 4-3-3, they're just going to pass. I think I'd end up in 3 spades.
Yep. Even if East doesn't invite, I think South should, over in the pass-out seat, make a balancing double. I'm just saying, I don't want to let the opponents play 2 spades. Let's try and push them up a level. And that might go double. And then I think both West and East would compete to 3 spades. Anyway, so I really see this auction ending in 3 spades most of the time.
Yeah.
Moving on to board number 9. North has a 7-card heart suit and is favourable vulnerability. I think this is fine to open 1 heart. I would probably just open 4 hearts anyway. Sometimes I just preempt game, especially not vulnerable, with just like these minimum opening hands. And I don't think my hand's very good for slam. One of the reasons why you wouldn't preempt 4 hearts initially is you're a bit too strong and you might talk yourself out of a slam contract by not showing these values. Also, I've only got 7 hearts, but these are good quality. I am a huge fan of preempting. I love getting in the way. I would be preempting 4 hearts. Are you a 1-hearter or a 4-hearter?
I'm much too good a girl. I'd just bid 1 heart. But I actually agree. I see your logic. Would you do it if you had spades instead?
I probably still would, but it's a lot less tempting. Over like a 4-heart opening, you're much more worried about the opponents just finding 4 spades. When you have spades, they're not really going to be bidding over it, so you don't need to preempt them as much because you're just going to win the auction.
Exactly.
If it was a 4-heart opening, I would just expect it to go all pass. If you open 1 heart, East is kind of tempted to overcall a spade, but the vulnerability is not good and they're too weak, so they'd probably pass. And South has 13 points. They can start by bidding 2 clubs. West would pass. North probably would go sort of just continually bidding their hearts up the line, or they could consider 1 heart, 4 hearts, which is sort of like out of hand, too good to preempt 4 hearts, but partner usually expects 8 hearts. Where would you go?
I would have gone 4 hearts.
Yeah.
Even though I haven't got the 8 hearts, it's the intermediaries are so good. You think, I think it'd be okay, and it kind of warns partner that I've got slightly more than he expects for a 4-heart opening, or she expects, but I don't think I've got the right hand for slam.
Yeah. And over, so a heart, 2 clubs, 4 hearts. I think South could consider one more move. You won't end up in slam on this one, but let's say that they imagined that you had ace king to 8 hearts, and another king or something might be a feasible hand. It's realistic that you might get, say, 8 heart tricks, your 2 aces, that other card you've got, and build a club trick. So I don't think it would be unreasonable for South to ask for aces, find you're missing out 2, and just stop in 5 hearts.
And especially as South, even though it's only a 13 count, it's got aces and kings, hasn't it? They're nice points opposite a long heart suit.
Yep. Moving on to board number 10. What would you do here?
Board number 10, so East is the dealer, and they've got 13 points. So they look like they've got a fairly straightforward club opening. And South's going to bid, so they've got a nice hand, haven't they? They've got a 19 count. Now
16 count.
16 count. I can't count. 16. It wasn't looking like a 19. That's good, because I wanted to overcall a spade, and I definitely do now. It's only been 16. So I don't think I'm doubling because I've got 5 spades and 3 hearts. I might consider it if I was 5 spades and 4 hearts. So I'd overcall a spade. This West now I think is just going to pass. Quite likes the spade call. So now it's most annoying for North. I think probably you have to go no trump, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you got to find some bid.
Bid. And if 2 clubs isn't natural, you can't bid it. And I think it'll go pass and come back to south. You probably, yeah, you want to be in game once, because I think after an overcaller, no trump should be slightly stronger. So it should be showing maybe 8 to 10-ish, something like that. You've got 16, so you've got enough for game. You're not playing it in, it really looks like it's no trumps. If you trust your partner to have their club stopper, which they sound like they do, you could just try 3-no.
Yeah.
And then happily go down, or unhappily go down, possibly, according to...
Yeah. I think you're a good shot to make it on this one. They can beat you, but like that's if they mess up your entries or something. Like if East just leads 4th highest, you can win the King of Clubs and continue a club while North still has the Ace of Spades intact. Whereas to beat this, I think they have to lead Spades or get rid of the Ace of Spades before the clubs get you a few tricks, because you could realistically get 4 Spades, 3 Hearts via a finesse and a couple of club tricks. So I think this one would be fine. Good shot to make.
And it's interesting, actually, if they do lead their 4th club, it's one of these times where you don't want to win the 9 in dummy, isn't it?
Yeah, so
you actually want to overtake it and lead another club.
Yeah, if you just go, oh, my 9's winning, you might just go down on this contract because they gave you a chance to use those clubs, and if you decline it, then yeah,
they may not give you a second one.
Moving on to board number 11. Here, South has 19 high card points and 4-5-2-2 shape. They got an interesting choice. This hand's sort of worth about 20 points. So I think there's a few choices you could be choosing here. You could choose to open 1 heart. You could choose to open this 2 no trumps, or you could consider 2 clubs. So first of all, I think this is too weak for a 2 club opening, so I wouldn't be bidding that. I want it to be stronger than this for actually 2 clubs. Here, I think I would just be choosing 1 heart. I think that would be able to show our shape relatively well. Even though 2 no trumps is about, like, we've got 19 points, we've got a 5 card suit. I think this is decent strength for having that. But I think we're not going to have too many issues if you start with 1 heart. What do you reckon?
I'm very much a 1 heart bidder. I think the problem about 2 no trumps is you're never going to get the shape. You know, you've got such strong majors across there. If you can find a fit with partner, I mean, you could find slam, you could find lots of good things can happen. You could find a very close game. But 2 no trumps, you know, you may be wide open in clubs too. Yeah.
So after a heart opening, here I would be bidding 3 clubs with West. We're not vulnerable. We've got a great club suit. We've only got 6 of them, but you can make a weak jump shift to the 3 level with just 6 when you're not vulnerable with this good quality. And that makes life a lot more awkward for the opponents. So I'd be bidding 3 clubs here. The North hand's got 9 high card points, and they've got a few choices they could make. They want to be supporting their partner, and they either want to be bidding 3 hearts or 4 hearts over that. I would be leaning towards just bidding 4 hearts. I don't think I've got quite enough that I would typically be showing a game forcing strength hand if I was given space, but I don't think 3 hearts with the room we've got is enough of it. Here we've got 9 high card points. We've got a singleton ace, which is really hard to evaluate, but we've got an extra trump. We've got 4 trumps, and again, I really like aces, so I would be leaning towards 4 hearts. What about you?
Absolutely 4 hearts. Yeah. And you've got a 5 card suit that could work out. You know, partner's got a few, you could be setting that up. You've got entries in trumps. Yeah, there's lots of ways that you could be making this.
Yeah. And over that, South with their 19 points wants to be investigating slam. They have a minor concern that maybe they might lose 2 club tricks. If you have the ability, if you play Q bids in your partnership, this is a type of hand where I'd make a Q bid of 4 spades, which just says I've got control of spades, first or second round control. I think that's a good way to try and show this hand if you have that system agreement. And what doing that is, you might be able to sort of point out to your partner that maybe we're worried about clubs eventually. Alternatively, I don't mind just bidding keycard on this or Blackwood on this, because we've got 19 points. Our partner managed to jump to game opposite a 12 count. I don't know where their points are if they don't have something in clubs. It is possible that we're off 2 club tricks, but if I don't have the way to check for it with a Q bid, I would probably just Blackwood and try and bid slam here. What do you reckon?
Yep. Yeah, you've definitely got to move. And as you say, 4 no trumps is a practical bid, isn't it? Even if you can't queue.
Yeah. What about board number 12?
West has another hand you'd love, Pete. Lots of aces and kings. It's got to. So I think West would have opened a diamond. Now, North is going to take some action. They've got a 12 count. They've got a respectable 5-card heart suit. So I think I'd be overcalling a heart. Now you get to East. East is going to take some action with their 10 count. You're always going to be looking for the majors first, so you want to bid spades. Some people here would play that double shows 4 and a bit of spade shows 5. I do whichever one I can do to show full spades. So if it's overcalling, if it's doubling, I'd double or bid. Now, South actually, this is going to be a very active little auction. South has very nice heart support, but the vulnerability is against you. So even though you've got 4, I don't think I'd be going 3. I think I'd probably just settle on 2. I think that's probably the bid with the most margin in this option. What about you, Pete? Would you be a 2 or a 3 bidder?
Yeah, I think 2's where I'm at. I'd bid 2 and compete to 3 if the opponents push me up.
Yeah, but you not. Now West actually has quite a nice hand. Doesn't have anything in hearts, so that's looking very nice. So partner's got 4 spades. If you played support doubles, this be in some ways be a nice hand because you could double to show 3 spades. But against that, I'd be really worried of it getting passed out 2 hearts doubled, which is always dangerous when you've got a void and you're at a low level. So you're probably going to try and find a bid here. Possibly, if you're not doing that, 3 diamonds, I think. I'd like to have stronger diamonds. I don't really want to go 3 clubs because I think that probably shows a stronger hand. If it doesn't, 3 clubs. But you've got to take some action, I think, on West's hand. What would you do?
Yeah. I think it depends on how frisky your partner is. If your partner really likes converting your takeout doubles to penalties, you probably don't want to do it too much on this hand, although your hand's not terrible for defending. Like, if your partner's only going to be doing it with 5 hearts, I think double's fine. If your partner's particularly adventurous, then I would probably try a bid here, but I think I would try a double here and just hope my partner's not too adventurous for passing it into penalties.
And I think you're right. You have actually got 3 defensive tricks, and partner should know. I think when it comes back to East, they've got a bit of an awkward bid. They're certainly not passing it out. They can't bid their spades again, so I think they'd bid 3 diamonds.
Yep.
And now South might go 3 hearts. And I think West at this point, I'd be going 4 diamonds because you've got extra length in diamonds, you've got a void in hearts. Doesn't sound like you've got game. Partners made a fairly minimal bid. So I think I'd just be trying 4 diamonds, but I don't think I'd want to defend 3 hearts. How about you?
Yeah, that seems like a pretty reasonable auction. I'm relatively conservative trying to bid to 4 of a minor. I don't do it very often over the opponent's part scores. But this one, the opponents are aggressively bidding my void. You've got good shape. I don't think you're going to be looking for a game on these cards. So, yeah, I think ending in 4 diamonds is sensible.
If they're rude enough to go to 4 hearts, you'd be quite happy. I think I'd be looking at doubling that just because you've got nice aces and kings and partner did bid.
Yeah.
But in a match point, yeah.
Moving on to board number 13. So here, North has an 11 count with a 5-4-3-1. They could consider opening a diamond. This depends on partnership style. I probably would open a diamond, but pass is reasonable on this one. Whatever happens, I suspect East should be bidding a no trump. They've got 17 points, flat hand, 1 no trump looks pretty good. South wouldn't be bidding, and West has enough points for game. You can make slam on this, but I doubt you would actually be investigating slam on these cards. So with the West hand, I would be transferring to hearts and then offering 3 no trumps. And East does have a fit for hearts, but they've got a 4-3-3 shape. This is one of the rare times that you can consider not taking 3 no trumps out to 4 of a major, even though you've got a major suit fit. And also that 10 of diamonds is really valuable in trying to encourage me to do that if there was a 1 diamond opening in the North hand, because that's a potential second stopper in diamonds. So I would be trying to play it in 3 no trumps. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah. What about board 14?
We've got East opening, got a 13 count, so we're going to open. So now it's really how you open these would be a club, assuming a 5-card majors. And then that kind of takes a bit of steam out of South because they'd like to bid clubs, but they can't. It's got a 15 count. So probably it's going to go not vulnerable, I think probably a no trump. West is weak and I think probably passes, though you've got shape. I don't mind 2 clubs if 2 clubs is weak to play and you're just putting yourselves in an 8-card fit. You're very weak, but you're hoping that your extra shape will help you and you may get in the way of the opposition, but I think pass is probably more normal. And then North now, after a no trump, has an interesting hand. I think first of all, you'd probably look for your 4-4 spade fit, and if you don't find that, you'd probably show the diamonds, highlighting that you're worried about the other 2 suits and no trumps. So you'd probably start with 2 clubs. Is that kind of what you'd be thinking, Pete?
Yeah. I like 2 clubs with the North hand.
I think you're definitely going to go to game with this. You're only an 8 count, but you've got a 6-card suit. So you're either looking for game in spades, diamonds, or no trumps, I think.
Yep. So I like Stamen. If partner bids 2 spades, this hand's fantastic. Yeah. Here, partner bids 2 diamonds. If you, over the 2 diamond bid, if you bid 3 diamonds, this should be natural and game forcing and sort of highlighting this hand where you've got longer diamonds and you have a major, but you know that you don't have a major suit fit anymore. And I'm pretty sure the South hand would just choose 3 no trumps over that, and that's where you'd end. I do think it's interesting about whether West should bid 2 clubs or not. They've only got 3 points. I'm not sure the 2 club bid would work very well on this hand.
No.
But my general theory is I like to just get in the way of the opponents, largely because this is one area where lots of partnerships don't have firm agreements. You should have firm agreements about what to do over the opponent's interference, but it is amazingly annoying for lots of partnerships. So if it went a club, a no trump, I reckon I like 2 clubs if you play that as natural. And then that makes North's hand a lot more awkward for what to do. Some people just play sort of full system on with double just being Stamen if you've got all the space. But if the interference is anything higher than 2 clubs, you really shouldn't be doing that. You might be playing just takeout doubles. Whatever it is, I feel like the North hand should be doubling on this hand, whatever your agreement is. And South would probably just pass because of their really good club suit. But in principle, I like sort of getting in the way of the opponents.
Especially at this vulnerability, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to board number 15. South has a 23 count and a balanced hand. So they probably want to start with 2 clubs. And North can show a positive with spades. So they'll just bid 2 spades. East would pass. And South, I would just bid 2 no trumps, trying to show my sort of 23, 24 sort of balanced hand. With North, you still know that you've got a spade fit. And you're still really encouraging. I would be looking to go to slam with this North hand. So I would be bidding 3 spades, which should just be natural and forcing. South might just bid 3 no trumps, or they might bid 4 spades at this stage. Whatever it is, I'd hopefully be able to ask for aces with the North hand. And keycard on spades. And you might find out you're off 2 key cards, Ace of Hearts and the King of Spades, or just 2 aces, and choose to stop in 5 spades, which probably goes down with the terrible spade break. But I think the North hand should be investigating slam. It wouldn't surprise me if a bunch of people ended up in slam going down on this one. Or stopping in 5 spades going down in this one. I think North really should be trying to push opposite that. What do you reckon?
Absolutely. It's, you've got an 8 card fit and 33 points. Normally you're going to make 6 without thinking too hard about it.
Yeah. What about board 16?
16. So looks like it'll go pass, and then North's going to open this, a club. Assuming I've counted their 14 count. Now here, West, I think East is going to pass, and now South's going to have to think about this because they've got a 22 count and partner has opened 1 club. It's actually interesting. It's often people have no idea quite what to do when you have so much, but I think you just start a spade. And it'll go back to a no trump by North because they haven't got spade support. And now you know they're 12 to 14 and you're 21. If you don't have very much in the way of system, or even if you do, you might just bid 6 no trumps, I think.
Yeah.
If you could bid 5 no trumps, which should be saying, I want to play 6, bid your 4 card suits up the line. And if you did that, you might get to clubs. But against that, in match points, you probably just want to be in no trumps anyhow because they score better.
Yeah.
You need quite a lot of system, I think, here to get to 7 clubs, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I think ending in 6 no trumps is a pretty practical bid.
Yeah.
7 clubs is a pretty decent contract. If you manage to get there, well done. 7 no trumps does make on this hand, but is not a very good contract. So here, my goals would be 6 no trumps. It is where I'd expect to end. 7 clubs, if you have any agreements here, that's good. Moving on to board number 17. Here, North has 7 clubs and a 6 count. I would happily be preempting 3 clubs here. And now the East has an interesting choice. They want to be overcalling. I would probably just be overcalling 3 hearts. You may consider 4 hearts. What are your thoughts around here?
It's close to 4 hearts, isn't it? but it's a weak four heart bid. I think you're right between the two. Your king of clubs, you just don't know how much use it is. Could be a good card. I mean, if you had a small club, you'd clearly go three hearts.
Yeah.
I think three hearts probably is still enough.
And South would pass, and West has probably even awkwarder choice. What do you reckon about that one?
That is really ugly, isn't it? Sometimes in match points, I could imagine passing this, and just because you don't know whether the three hearts is a light bid or a heavy bid, in a teams match, it'd be even worse, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
In a teams match, I think you'd be probably four diamonds.
Yeah.
But you'd have to have yeah. And then that partner would go four hearts and you'd be quite happy to pass that.
Yeah, so I think there's like three choices. Like you could pass four diamonds. You could vaguely consider four hearts as well.
You could.
I think four diamonds is a better bid than four hearts most of the time. Like four diamonds doesn't rule out partner bidding four hearts. But one of the issues with four diamonds is, well, sometimes partner will raise to five diamonds when four hearts is making anyway. Also, you might be playing in five diamonds when both contracts are pretty bad and you want to be just like a level lower.
Absolutely.
So this one, I think pass is reasonable. There's no guarantee you've got a fit. There's no guarantee you're making 10 tricks in hearts. So I don't mind a pass. I don't mind four diamonds. Four hearts could be a reasonable choice as well, just because of those fears. It's really close between those. I would probably err on the side of aggression here, but it's far from clear that you'd be making. So like the more I think about it, the more I think I like pass rather than bidding.
It's certainly an easier pass at match points. I think in teams you'd absolutely have to bid. Just well, maybe you don't because you're not Vol, so it's probably about the same both ways, isn't it? I'd bid in teams because it upsets partner too much if you miss games. I always find.
Yeah, but partner's always happy going down in game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a really close choice between those three. I can see pros and cons for all of them. So I wouldn't be upset if you missed this game, even though it looks like, wow, we've got 26 points and we've got this 9-card fit. How did we not bid it? Preamps work. They make you guess. This is really just highlighting the effect of the 3-club bid by North, making life just absolutely miserable for East-West. What about board 18?
18. So we've got East is opening and they're going to pass. South's there have been some amazing hands in this set, haven't they? So they've got a nice 17 count with a 7-card suit. So they probably start with 1 diamond. Now West, you're not Vol against Vol, so this is the time you do want to preempt. I think you're definitely going to bid, well, I would bid 2 hearts. It's very light, but you're not Vol against Vol, and partner's a passed hand and feels like you should get in there. North now has a more awkward bid. Probably 2 spades. East will pass. And now South has a more awkward spot. You like the 2 spade bid is encouraging. But really, where to be? You can't. So what would be your options here? You can't support spades because you haven't got them. So you could probably try 3 clubs, which really should have 4, but you're just making up a bid to keep the bidding open to see what partner will do. You could try 3 hearts, but they're likely to bid 3 no trumps to tell you they've got a stopper if they do, and you're not sure that's where you want to be because you really do have a lot of extras. Or you could try 4 diamonds. And if you did that, you're kind of hoping to find some sort of diamond fit and go to 6. I think it's close. I'd veer between 3 hearts, I think probably in 3 clubs. I'd probably try 3 clubs just to see if I could, what partner does next. But 4 diamonds could be right. I don't know. What would you do, Pete?
So one of the benefits of 3 clubs is that if partner bids something like 3 diamonds, you're very excited to go looking for slam in diamonds. If you go ahead and bid 4 diamonds, you more or less should be committing to 6 diamonds, because at match points, 5 diamonds just really isn't a good contract to be playing.
And your diamonds really aren't strong enough for it, because you have to you need a card in partner's hand in diamonds.
Yeah. I personally would probably be bidding 3 hearts, just asking for a stopper, but you don't have a great follow-up. I think 3 clubs and 3 hearts are both sensible. If you bid the opponent's suit at this later stage, it just says, I need more information. Now, if partner bids 3 no trumps, you still haven't shown the full extent of your hand, really. It depends on your agreements. If you just have 4 no trumps be sort of invitational, you could consider doing that over that. You could follow up by bidding 4 diamonds over a 3 no bid anyway. All of these ones are pretty awkward follow-ups. I don't mind just subsiding in 3 no trumps, just because you're getting into murky territory and it's not clear how to untangle it without risking ending in 5 diamonds.
As you say, death knell in pairs.
Yeah. It's one where if I was playing teams, I definitely would be making more moves, because I'm happy to end in 5 diamonds there. But
yeah, it's another example of preempts work, don't they?
Yeah. Moving on to board number 19. Here, South would pass, and West has a 4-4-1 shape, which you just want to open a diamond. 4-4-1 shapes are annoying to try and deal with, but here it shouldn't have too much difficulty, because I suspect it would go a diamond pass a heart. South at favourable may choose to bid a spade as a passed hand. They may choose just to pass. Either way, West has 14 high card points with a singleton. I would be keen to jump to 3 hearts rather than just bidding 2 hearts. And if it was just a 2 heart response, East would just be jumping to 4 hearts. If West jumped to 3 hearts, East could be interested in slam, or at least making a slam try, and this would depend on your methods over that. You would probably start by making a Q-bid if you play that, or some sort of investigation that still leaves the chance of subsiding in 4 hearts. But I wouldn't be surprised that if West jumped to 3 hearts, that East-West might end up sort of playing 5 or even 6 hearts, because you're missing 2 aces, so you'd be stopping in 5 hearts at the very least. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a clear 3 heart bid, isn't it? You've really got nice values. The singleton, you just really do want to do it. And again, East has got a bit extra because they've got a singleton spade, which, as it turns out, is absolutely useless against the king-queen. But, well, not useless, but, you know, if it was against an ace, you'd be making 6 would be a good spot. So I think they should try, and you should try and stop in 4 or 5.
Yeah. What about board number 20?
20. So again, we've got some distribution, quite flat compared to some of the other hands, but anyhow, West would pass. Again, because we've got aces and kings, I think both Pete and I would open this a diamond, even though it's an 11 count. East would go a heart, and South would probably go a spade. Now, West would go 2 hearts. I think so far everybody's got fairly straightforward choices. I'd be passing with North because I've got a minimum opening. Don't have spade support of any sort. East probably passes at this point. Now I think I'd be doing 2 spades with South to show the extra spades, and I might actually 11 count. I still think I've got a singleton in the suit partner bid. Yeah, I think I'm probably doing 2 spades.
I might.
You may get that. Yeah.
I may consider 3 spades. Like, your singleton's not great. Your king of hearts isn't fabulous, but they're probably going to lead it. I still think that you're not that likely to get to game on this, even with a 3 spade bid.
I don't think North's moving, whatever you do.
Yeah. And I don't think South should be game forcing with their hand. Here, West only has 5 points, but I do agree that it's definitely a 2-heart raise. In competition, if you've got a fit, I really try and strive to show my fit and try and compete and push the opponents up. Also, just having an ace is really good, so I would have no qualms about supporting partner with the West hand there. But
if you don't do it now, you can never do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to board number 21. Here, North had passed, and East has a 4-3-5-1 shape. Pretty nice 15 count. They can open 1 diamond. South had pass, and West has a really strong hand with 4 hearts and 5 clubs. Now, lots of people tend to play that they show their majors ahead of showing their minor suit. But for me, once I've got a game-forcing strength or higher, I really like to start by showing my longest suit first. Because if you start by bidding a heart with these West hands, you can't ever go back and then tell partner that your clubs are longer. So to keep the slam possibility of playing in 6 clubs or anything like that, you really want to be starting this with 2 clubs. You can try and show your hearts later if needed. So I'd have this auction go, North-South aren't going to bid, but I'd have it go a diamond, 2 clubs. East should then bid 2 spades, which should show some more extras, more than just like a dead minimum hand. And also show an unbalanced hand with 4 spades and 5 or more diamonds. West is pretty excited over this, so partner's got extras. And you also should be having a diamond fit on this auction. So there's a few ways forward from here. But straight away, West should be knowing that they're definitely in the slam territory. You could do things like just bid 6 no trumps. I feel like that shuts out any possibility of extras. You could consider something like jumping to 4 diamonds. You could just bid 3 diamonds. You should be in a game-forcing auction by this stage. So I really don't think that partner should be passing, because East has shown some extras, sort of 15 or more. West has shown 10 or more. You should be having 25 or more points. So 3 diamonds would be another reasonable bid. You could consider bidding 4th suit forcing and then supporting diamonds later as well. So I would really be choosing between sort of 3 hearts, 3 diamonds, and 4 diamonds. Whatever happens, I would still be trying to ask for key cards, hopefully on diamonds if I can orchestrate that. And then if you find out you're off the queen of diamonds, you just want to be settling in slam. But playing match points, I think we've got 33 points. So I reckon I'd be just opting for 6 no trumps rather than 6 diamonds. What do you reckon?
That would be ideal if you could get there. But you really don't want to be bidding 7 unless you're really convinced it's making. You don't want it on a finesse.
No. Here the queen of diamonds drops singleton, so you'll comfortably make 13 tricks, but not somewhere where you really want to be.
No.
What about board number 22?
Oh, a bit more shape coming up. So East is going to open this a diamond. Okay. South will pass. West will go a heart. And then we get to North's hand. So they've got 8 clubs. They're not vulnerable against vulnerable. I think they've got no defense of any sort. I think this is the classic time you want to get in there. You want to go as high as you can, and you want to take up as much space as you can doing it. So I think I'd just do 5 clubs and tell East West to work out where the hell they belong. And then it gets quite nasty, I think, for East West. But how about you? Would you be the same?
Yeah, I really like the 5 club bid. Preempts work, the vulnerability is great, and North doesn't have any defense for anything else, so I think that's good.
Good. I mean, if the vulnerability was different, if you were vulnerable and they weren't, you just couldn't do it because it's too expensive. But at this vulnerability, go for it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a green light for preempting, basically.
And then, I mean, it really does make a lot of problems because I think probably with the West hand, you're going to have to double, you probably pass, and then I think West probably doubles because...
Yeah. Importantly here, West doesn't have it like... West wouldn't be shocked if 5 clubs made, but they were probably having good hopes of trying a bit of game after their partner opened. They feel like it's their hand. But at this stage, I just sort of shrug my shoulders and just double them. Like, you're stuck, basically. So just say that you got a good hand and see if you can improve your score at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's about all you can do, isn't it?
Yep. Moving on to board number 23. Here it would go pass, and North has a fabulous 5-5-17 count, so they can open a heart. East has a good hand for a takeout double. Some people may be considering 2 diamonds here. It's a hand that fits into both a takeout double and an overcall. When my long suit is a minor, I prefer a takeout double. When my long suit's a major, I tend to prefer overcalling the major. So I much prefer a takeout double with these East cards than 2 diamonds. South has 6 points and a fit in hearts and can bid 2 hearts. West would pass, and as North, I would probably just bid 4 hearts. You might have some grand hopes of slam, but it's hard to envisage the perfect cards from partner where slam's going to be fantastic, especially with the takeout double. So I think it's a pretty routine 4 heart bid for me, and that might just end the auction.
I think so. Seems about one of the most straightforward ones we've had.
Yeah. What about board 24?
Okay, I think West is dealer and they're going to pass. North has a nice 14 count, and so you'd probably open this 1 spade, unless you're a no trumper with a 6-card major. But no, we're a spade. The next hand, they're not vulnerable. They have a 10 count. I think they've got a good 6-card suit. I think you're bidding 2 hearts on that. And then it comes down to South, who now, it's one of the reasons even an overcall can make life a bit tricky, because if East doesn't bid, South's got a very easy 1 no trump bid. Now that East has doubled, it's a lot murkier for South to know what to do. They've got 8 points. They want to do something. They haven't got a fit for spades. They're not strong enough to be bidding their diamonds. I mean, their options are a takeout, double, or pass, and both are a bit flawed. The pass, you're right on the edge of points, and the takeout double, you'd like to have 4 clubs for it. I think I probably would pass, but I don't mind the takeout double. I think it then would go pass. North would probably go 2 spades. And now I think South would go 3 spades, and maybe North goes 4, or passes, sorry. I think might pass at that point. Yeah. But I think I'd be moving. You have to make some move. I think over 2 spades with South, you've just got too much to keep quiet throughout. How do you feel?
Yeah, I think that's a sensible option. So a spade, 2 hearts, pass, 2 spades, pass 3 spades, all out.
Yeah.
I do think that the double by the south hand's entirely reasonable as well.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But moving on to board number 25. Here, North, beautiful hand, 3 aces. I love it. Sometimes people say aces and spaces, but for me, it's aces go places. So I really love my aces. I would be opening 1 diamond here. East has 10 points. They're close to a takeout double, but not good enough, especially vulnerable, so it would pass. And South would bid a heart. West would pass. They're not good enough to overcall 2 clubs. It's something that maybe you would overcall at the 1 level if given the chance, but 2 level you want to be stronger than this. And North could choose between 1 no trump and 2 clubs. I think both are reasonable. I'd probably choose 2 clubs just because of my small doubleton spade and partner bidding hearts. Feels like it's more suited to playing a suit contract, but I think it's marginal between the 2 of them. And here East would pass, and as South I'd probably just go back to 2 diamonds if partner bid 2 clubs. If partner responded a no trump, I would actually be keen to repeat my hearts and bid 2 hearts. And the reason for this is if partner shows a balanced hand, responder is entitled to repeat 5 card suits. If opener is showing an unbalanced hand, you usually want 6 cards to be repeating your suits. So I think there are sort of 2 viable options here. A diamond, a heart, 2 clubs, and South just bidding 2 diamonds. Or a diamond, a heart, a no trump, and South bidding 2 hearts. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think that sums it up. I'm a 2 club bidder. And just going back to diamonds. Yeah.
What about board number 26?
26. So East has got a lovely hand here. Another 18 count. I don't think you're strong enough to be opening this anything else but 1 diamond at this point. Now, South actually has a nice hand too, so I think it would overcall a spade. West says, what are they overcalling on with my 6 spades, but really has to pass. And then North looks at this and thinks, has an interesting problem, really. You've got a few points, but you don't like spades. If I could bid 2 hearts non-forcing, I would, but some people play in this situation that it is non-forcing, but if you play it's forcing, I think you've got no option but to pass. Now it comes back to East. I think we've gone a diamond, a spade, pass. Now you could double, but double tends to suggest that you've got hearts. I mean, if you doubled, you'd be planning on bidding diamonds later just to show a really strong hand. Even though partner didn't bid over a spade, I still think I want to show quite a lot of points here. So my options, I think, are either 2 clubs, which should get some action out of partner, 3 diamonds, 2 diamonds or 3 diamonds. Tricky. I think I'd probably go 2 clubs, but I tend to play that partner will try and bid again over 2 clubs there. No, even because you've got 6 tricks, even no trumps could be right if partner's got a spade stack. Because you're wondering where the spades are on this one, aren't you?
Yeah.
If you've got a singleton, partner could easily have values with spades. Maybe you should be doubling, but I don't think I would have.
Yeah. I think I like double here.
Just because of it, yeah. I think you're probably right.
So, like, one of my thoughts here is Double wouldn't be great if it's a spot where partner could jump in hearts, like bid 3 hearts or 4 hearts. But I really don't think partner can do that, because if partner had a hand with hearts, they could have responded with a double. So it could have gone like a diamond, a spade, double showing hearts, for instance. So I don't think partner can bid any more than 2 hearts realistically. And if they do bid 2 hearts, I feel comfortable converting that to three diamonds.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. So yeah, I think you're right. A double, it works. It probably goes pass, pass. Now as North, I think I'm bidding 2 hearts. It's not that I don't trust partner, but I have such nice 6 cards. Well, I suppose East showed hearts. It's interesting, isn't it? Do you want to walk into it, or do you just pass? No, I think I'm actually probably passing, because I'd be worried that East actually had hearts.
Yeah, I would probably try running. But you can easily have East having hearts, but I'm a firm believer of the opponents know what they're doing when they try to penalize me at the 1 level. So I would try running here.
Yeah.
But
go. Yep.
Like you certainly could be running into like a 4 card hearts on your right very often. Here 2 hearts works out fine, but it's one of these ones where West certainly knows that you're in trouble in spades, so I'd risk it. And if you do bid 2 hearts, I think as a star just bid 3 diamonds, and that might be where the auction ends. But some people might be in 1 spade doubled. You could. One thing to do is you probably shouldn't fall too in love with the East hand. You could easily end up in 3 no trumps, which isn't unreasonable on these cards, and 3 no trumps has some play to try and make. So I wouldn't be ashamed of ending up in 3 no trumps, or even if they did make it. But yeah, I think there's lots of marginal choices here. I think I like East reopening with a double after it goes a diamond, a spade, pass, pass.
Mm-hmm.
West should pass this with their 6 spades. And my style is, if the opponents double me, I really try and run from it. But running to 2 hearts could work out poorly. But you have any final thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think you're right about the double. You just actually have no option because all the other bids are worse. And I like your point about the hearts. They're not jumping.
Yeah.
I'd be more worried about, I'm a great believer in, once you're doubled, don't dig a bigger hole.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you're right. It's a 1 level overcall, and partner could be doing it on nothing. So you probably are forced to bid 2 hearts.
Yeah.
I think if partner had done a 2 level overcall, I'd just be leaving them to it.
Yeah.
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 But a 1 level overcall, you know, they're allowed to do it on a worse hand. I have to say, I think I'd be 3 no trumps actually would be very hard to take off.
Yeah.
Because you could easily come to 6 clubs, 6 diamonds, a heart, a spade, and a club.
Yeah. The defense has to be pretty accurate here.
Yeah.
But declarer also has to be careful of their entries as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel like if declare is on point, you should be making 3 no trumps a lot of the time. I think to legitimately beat it, North-South have to just duck the first round of hearts, just so that they've got communication between the 2 hands.
Yeah.
And without that, East-West can make 3 no trumps, but that might involve East leading their singleton spade towards the king before playing any rounds of diamonds. Which, nerve-wracking, but what you sort of need to do.
You do, because you absolutely need the spade trick, and your only entry is the jack of diamonds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Moving on to board number 27. Here, Southwood passed, and West had 16 points in a 6-card club suit. I would probably just be opening this 1 no trump. We discussed earlier that what do you do with a 6-3, 2-2 shape? It's not strictly balanced, but the other alternative for this hand is opening 1 club and then maybe rebidding 3 clubs, which is an okay description of the hand. But to me, like, we've got lots of points in the majors. I think it's fine to just treat this one as a balanced hand. I even know some people that would treat this as 18-19 balanced and open a club and rebid 2 no trumps. But for me, Queen, Jack, Doubleton, Hearts not fantastic. So I would personally open a no trump.
If you had a King X of Hearts instead of Queen Jack, would you now? I think the 1 club 2 no trump rebid would be really quite good.
Yeah, I think it would be a lot more appealing that way.
Yeah.
But these sorts of hands with long minors, you definitely can consider to treat these as balanced. So here I'd have the option go probably uncontested, but a club, a spade by East. A no trump by West. East has 5-4 in the majors, and a game forcing strength hand. I would be showing that however you do that. There's a few ways that people can do that. A very basic way is just transfer to spades and bid 3 hearts. Some people use Stamen and a convention called Smolin, where you jump in response and actually jump to your shorter major to show it. There's lots of different ways that your partnership could show 5-4 in the majors with a game forcing hand. However you do that, I'd do that with the East hand, and West would opt for 3 no trumps. If West didn't open a no trump, which I suspect a lot of you just opened 1 club with, which is fine, North would pass and East would bid a spade, South would pass, and now West probably has to bid 3 clubs. Over that, East would bid 3 hearts and West would bid 3 no trumps. So I feel like you should be ending in 3 no trumps, whichever way you go. Did you have any thoughts about that?
Yes, I agree.
And on to our final hand, board number 28. How would you bid this one?
All right, so who's West is dealing, so they'd probably pass. North is going to open this a diamond. East passes. South has a nice hand, but would probably start a spade. And North would probably go a no trump. At which point, I think with South, you're not got 16, they could have 14. You're probably not in slam territory, so you probably just bid 4 spades. And that would end the auction.
Yeah.
Nice, straightforward one to finish.
What do you think about a takeout double as West after being a passed hand?
Yeah, that's over the spade. That's true. Actually, you'd certainly consider that, wouldn't you?
I don't
Especially non-vol. I mean, non-vol. I think you really want to do it because if it's a part score hand, you need to get your side into it, and the lower you can get your side into it, the better.
Yeah.
Partner shouldn't get too excited because you're already passed.
Yeah. That shouldn't really change the auction much. The final thing that I would consider is being super greedy at match points. Is if it went uncontested, if it went a diamond, a spade, a no trump, I might consider just bidding 3 no trumps and hoping it takes as many tricks. But that could work out pretty foolishly. Bidding 4 spades is probably a pretty sensible approach.
I never play match points, so you can tell. I always have to try and remember it.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed playing the Grand National Novice Pairs, and thanks, Jodi, for joining me.
Thanks for asking me.
All right. Bye for now.
Yeah.